In this video, we will discuss the process of meiosis and how it creates cells for reproduction in organisms. Sexual reproduction is when two sex cells, usually an egg and a sperm, come together and form a new organism. Meiosis produces these types of cells called haploid cells, which again are used for sexual reproduction. Again, sexual reproduction is when two sex cells come together. The egg is formed in the female reproductive organs, and the sperm is formed in the male reproductive organs. The joining of an egg and a sperm is called fertilization, and the cell that is formed as a result of fertilization is called a zygote. Now we will discuss diploid and haploid cells. Diploid cells are when cells have pairs of similar chromosomes. Body cells are examples of diploid cells. So here's a picture of what a diploid cell or a diploid chromosome looks like. And here's an example of what a haploid chromosome looks like. Haploid cells contain only half the number of chromosomes, and they are produced through meiosis. Sex cells are haploid cells. Meiosis produces haploid sex cells, which are used for sexual reproduction. What would happen in sexual reproduction if two diploid cells combined instead of two haploid cells? Pause this video and think about your answer for a minute or two. The answer is, if two diploid cells combined, it would result in double the number of chromosomes, so 46, which means that the organism that is made with the egg and sperm cells would have way too many chromosomes and would not be a normal person, because the mom would be giving 46 chromosomes and the dad would be giving 46 chromosomes. So you would end up with 92 chromosomes instead of 46. So if all goes well in reproduction, after two haploid cells combine, a diploid zygote is produced that develops into a new diploid organism. So we're going to start with meiosis 1. It is very similar to mitosis, except that it has two divisions. So in prophase 1, each duplicated chromosome comes near its duplicated mate. That's right here. You can also tell that the nuclear membrane is disintegrating and the centrioles are going to opposite sides of the cell, and spindle is beginning to form. Then comes metaphase 1, where the pairs of duplicated chromosomes line up in the center of the cell. The centromere of each chromatid becomes attached to one spindle fiber. Is this sounding familiar? What do you notice about meiosis, though? Do you see how there are two pairs of chromosomes on each side, rather than just one in the very middle? This is the difference between meiosis and mitosis. In anaphase 1, the two pairs of chromatids of each similar pair move away from each other to opposite ends of the cell. Again, similar to mitosis, except for an entire chromatid is going to one side. In mitosis, it was just one chromosome going to one side. And lastly, in telophase 1, the cytoplasm divides and two new cells are formed. But meiosis is not complete yet. Before we move on, here's another picture showing how meiosis 1 works. Since meiosis 2 is very similar to mitosis 1, I will explain each phase using this picture. As you can see, there are two cells, 1, 2, going through another division at the same time. In prophase 2, the chromatid pairs are visible and the spindle is again starting to form. Prophase 2. And then metaphase 2, the chromatid pairs line up in the center of the cell. And then in anaphase 2, the chromosomes are pulled away by the spindle fibers to opposite sides of the cell. And in telophase 2, the cytoplasm separates and you end up with 4 new cells. And these are all haploid cells because they have half the number of diploid cells. So each of these cells is going to have 23 chromosomes in them. Here is one final picture showing the entire process of meiosis. So you can use this picture or the pictures I showed you before to draw each of the phases, and then you will be done. Please write down any questions you have, and we will go over that in class tomorrow.